now my great pleasure to introduce the chair of the Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce, Mary Brooks, and I'll tell you a little bit about her many accomplishments. Mary is the managing director of Integra Wealth Management of Raymond James. She has a wealth of experience in the financial services industry, beginning as a financial consultant with Merrill Lynch right here in Walnut Creek in 1983. She established her own group, Integra Wealth Management of Raymond James, in 2009. She also serves on the Executive Advisory Council for Raymond James, meeting quarterly with senior management on topics ranging from regulatory controls to executive compensation. In these two roles, she knows well the opportunities and challenges of both a small business owner as well as a Fortune 500 company. Any of you who know Mary also know that she is passionate about contributing time and energy toward helping her community. She has served as co-chair of the East Bay Women's Conference, founding member of the John Muir Hospital Women's Philanthropic Circle, board member and now chair of the Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce. Her biggest focus is on the Contra Costa County-based nonprofit White Pony Express, an organization whose food rescue tagline, "Hunger, Not in My County," conveys the dedication of WPE to eliminating hunger and poverty in our country and county. WPE rescues more than 2 tons of food every day and delivers it to shelters and providers who serve our citizens who are hungry. Through their free general store, of which Mary is the executive coordinator, WPE gives away more than 10,000 items of free clothing, children's toys, and books every month to citizens in need. She also serves on the leadership team and the board of WPE. I have known Mary for many years, and she is an incredible contributor to our county, our city, our chamber. She does an extraordinary amount of work for all of us. In the nonprofit world, she works very hard. She sits on committees. She does everything. It is just a great pleasure to introduce my dear friend, Mary Brooks, chair of the Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you, Colleen. And good morning, Walnut Creek. Some of you may remember Robin Williams using that salutation in his movie, Good Morning, Vietnam, where it didn't matter really what was happening. It made you feel like it was the best day of your life. And business is strong. Walnut Creek, when we say good morning, we mean that business is strong and positioned to be even stronger. And the people in this room, each of you, deserve part of the credit. It's your vision and your hard work and dedication that has brought us to this point. And we can truly say that Walnut Creek is poised to lead the way into our bright future. It's been my great pleasure, and actually has been a blast, to serve as the chair of the Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce. And I've been thoughtful about that word, commerce, because we can't really assess the state of our city unless we think about commerce. Now, narrowly defined, commerce is really just business transactions. But if we think of it in a broader way, commerce is also our social interactions. It's learning. It's exchanges of ideas about intelligence and spiritual ideas, and partnerships and collaboration. It seems especially important in Walnut Creek, as we look at the state of the city, to think of this broader idea of commerce, because all of us in Walnut Creek treasure the way we can come here to have our work and also to live our lives as we live here and work here and raise our kids and meet with our friends and shop. By defining commerce more broadly, we can better celebrate our successes. and also the challenges that we face. The Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce is working hard on your behalf and in support of all aspects of commerce. I'd like to share with you two shining examples of the robust business climate and how your chamber is an integral part of that. Then I'd like to give you three especially interesting results from a recent business survey that we gave. And I'd like to offer some very specific and I hope challenging ideas of how we might address some of our difficulties. And I'd also have the great pleasure of announcing two wonderful new programs that the Chamber is launching this year. Now, when the Chamber met last spring for their all-day planning conference, we decided as a group on areas we felt that the Walnut Creek Chamber could make the most impact. And here's a graphic of the Chamber and our 6 initiatives for this year. Our first shining example of business climate and the power of partnerships comes from the Shade Lens. And I know that Mayor Wedel is going to speak more about this, but I'd like to speak to just a couple of things I'd like to emphasize. For years, the Shade Lens was, and I'm putting this kindly, an underutilized business asset. The Chamber of Commerce led the charge to partner with the city and the property owners to form a Property Business Improvement District, or PBID. The PBID allows the property owners to generate revenue, to support things that they feel will generate business, and also to deal with things that are difficult for them. The PBID revenues have partially funded the buses that you see everywhere, the Shade Lens transportation, giving transportation to workers between mass transit and their new workplaces. And one of the other things that's new this year, and in fact this week, and is actually the reason you had key lime pie for your dessert, was the Lime Bike Share program, launched just last week. And I have to tell you, their tagline I just love. It's called Download, Unlock, and Ride Anywhere. These changes have transformed Shade Lens. According to Knight Frank's 2017 Office Market Report, Shade Lens was the best performing submarket, capping the best 2 calendar years of listing in the submarket for over 30 years. The revitalization of Shade Lens is one of our best success stories. The second example of a robust business climate and the power of partnerships is the Walnut Creek Convention and Visitors Bureau. A structure much like the PBID, but whose revenues come from tourism. In 2017, we recorded 290,000 room nights booked in Walnut Creek. And studies show that for every visitor we have in Walnut Creek, they spend an additional $160 on meals and retail. Now, first of all, I don't know how anybody shops in Walnut Creek for $160, but that's another story. Now, this money that comes from our visitors has added over $46 million to the Walnut Creek economy, in addition to sales taxes and over $2 million in occupancy taxes. To almost quote Senator Everett Dirksen, $1 million here and $1 million there, and pretty soon you're talking about real money. Visitors are an important part of our economy. And every year, the Walnut Creek Chamber and Convention Visitors Bureau spends over $300,000 in marketing and PR to bring people to our beautiful city. I just want to mention, if you have not seen Linda Kohlberg and her husband's beautiful film on celebrating Walnut Creek, please take a minute to do it, because it is beautiful and it shows our city in all its glory. You can get it by going onto the website for the Walnut Creek Chamber, which is walnut-creek.com. Now to our business survey we conducted very recently. where we were astonished to see that 64% of the responses were from businesses that had been around for longer than 10 years. This means that we get responses not only from new business with short-term responses, but also from our more mature businesses who've been around a while and have seen more market cycles. And 6 of the 10 businesses who had, that we saw had fewer than 20 employees. So in Walnut Creek, small business is a big part of our economy. And what did our respondents say? 9 out of 10 believe that the local economy is going in the right direction. And I know this table here with the City Council is very happy about that response. And a stunning 79% felt that sales at their businesses would be higher this year than last year. See? Good morning, Walnut Creek. However, one area was of consistent concern: the ability to attract and keep employees with candidates with appropriate skills. So let me just repeat that. The ability to attract and keep employee candidates with appropriate skills. I just want to take a second because I'm curious. In this room, if you're a business owner or work with your employees, raise your hand if you feel that that's a challenge for you in your business, getting good employees that match the skills for the jobs you have. It's pretty pervasive. The Chamber believes that we need a multi-lever approach to address this issue, the dual issue that we have, which is people without jobs and jobs without people. One of these levers is the need for leadership and skills-based training. A 4-year degree is not the only path to prosperity, and work-based learning, like apprenticeships, can make for wonderful careers. We also need to encourage lifelong learning, as our workers have to adapt to the rapid change that's happening in every industry. To help fill this need, I'm very happy to announce that the Walnut Creek Chamber has founded the Walnut Creek Chamber Foundation, whose mission is to foster the development of leadership and to provide a link between our education system and our business community. One of the first programs will be an expansion of the Leadership Contra Costa program, which I know many of you know about. Again, raise your hands if you're a graduate of Leadership Contra Costa County. Marcy, I think I'm like the only person in the room who hasn't done that, so.
Next program.
Next program. Next program. The bottom line for all of this is that we cannot strengthen and sustain economic growth unless we grow and support our workforce. And the Walnut Creek Chamber is dedicated to this. Now, providing work for our young people to live where they work is a challenge for us. 3/4 of our respondents were over the age of 45. Where are our young people? Well, I tell you what, they can't afford to live here. According to the Contra Costa Association of Realtors, the average sales price for a house in Walnut Creek is over $1 million. And Redfin says that in order to qualify to buy that house, you have to have a household income of over $200,000. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was 35 years old, I never even heard of $200,000. Even our condos and townhouses cost over $500,000. Now, many of us in this room are kind of proud that we're part of the baby boomer generation. 75 million people moving through the economy, affecting everything from Gerber baby food to now nursing homes. Well, look out, because there is another tsunami soon coming to our shores, and it's even bigger than the baby boomers. It's 85 million people, and it is the millennials. And they are changing the way we work and the way we live and the way we think, the way we drive. They are changing everything. They're a little bit late to the party, really. They're marrying later. They're having children later. They're later in establishing their careers. And if you are a boomerang parent, you know they're kind of late to moving out of the house. But make no mistake, they are arriving now. And if Walnut Creek is to lead the way, we must adapt our city to the needs of this new generation. The next generation of workers wants a more urban, suburban environment with access to mass transit. Who among us doesn't treasure working and living in Walnut Creek? Yet shame on us as we permit huge barriers to living in Walnut Creek due to lack of housing, and even bigger barriers to companies that would like to domicile here and have their headquarters. But we keep these ancient height limits. What does that mean? It means that families that want to live and work here are on the roads. I go to work sometimes at 5:30 in the morning, and 680 is already bumper to bumper. My assistant is Isla, right here. She gets to work at 5 a.m. to beat the traffic. She works all day, and she's got 2 little kids under the age of 5. And I'm gonna cry. I love those boys. I would love to see them in downtown Walnut Creek, but she and her family cannot afford to live here. If we are to step fully into our future, if we are to lead the way, we must rethink our attitudes about housing and what suburban-urban life looks like. We have to provide opportunities to our young people to live where they work and work where they live. We have to open our eyes. Dare I say it? We need to reopen the discussion around Measure A and height limits that were put in place over 30 years ago. We cannot build a 21st century economy with 20th century height limits. I challenge you today, our business leaders, our nonprofits, our cultural leaders, our political leaders, to open this dialogue so that we can provide a better, more welcoming environment to people and businesses who really, really want to live here. And speaking of the future, I mentioned at the beginning of my talk that the Chamber is serious about leading the way to the future of Walnut Creek. The Chamber wants to bring together the best minds in the country and the best minds in our region to think deeply about these issues, to think about what all this means. What do we wonder about when we think of the future? What are we scared of? So I'm thrilled to announce today, you heard it here first, to be held in the fall of 2019, a broad one-day conference sponsored by the Chamber on the future of us, the future of transportation, of healthcare, education, housing, and work. I hope each of you will consider becoming committee members on this. Templated after the award-winning East Bay Women's Conference, which has been sold out every year for 13 years, you are going to want to get in early on this conference, and you're going to want to be a major sponsor for this conference, which will be region-wide and will begin a process of being as successful over time as the Women's Conference is. As a friend of mine used to say, lucky, lucky, lucky. We are indeed blessed to be cradled as we are in the benevolent shade of our beautiful Mount Diablo. Let us be bold as we can and as we should. We must lead the way here in Walnut Creek. And growth is our future. If you are a bank or lending institution, open your doors to lending to businesses in Walnut Creek. If you own a company or you work at a major corporation, support an apprenticeship program for new workers through the Chamber. And if you are in the real estate business, be that engine for a robust dialogue around how we grow best and better and better. And everyone here, join us at the Chamber of Commerce at Walnut Creek so that all of us every morning wake up saying, "Good morning, Walnut Creek." Thank you. You are a very handsome audience. Thank you very much. And of course, none of this would be possible without the strength of our board of directors and the skill and dedication and long hours of our Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce staff. So allow me to introduce them to you. I'd like to start with the board of directors. And if when I call your name, you could stand so people can see you, but we'll hold our applause until the very end. On our Walnut Creek Board of Directors this year, we have Eddie Adair, Marriott Hotel. He didn't come to his own party. But we have Tim Argenti, who makes up for that, who is the incoming chair. Go ahead and stand, Tim. Greg Aguirre from Macerich and Broadway Plaza, where you can spend $160 apparently. Colleen Benatar, Community Bank of the Bay. Linda Rymack Kohlberg and Company. Ed Del Beccaro, Transwestern. Victoria Gallagher, American Heart Association. Eugene McGrain, Cushman and Wakefield of California. Diana Morello Accounting Group. Ray Nassif, John Muir Health. Marty Smith, Alhals Deaton. And Ann Wilbur, Apropos Promotions. Join me in let's thanking them. And of course, the Walnut Creek Chamber staff, if you would stand also, Marcy Hockhauser, Chamber Senior Vice President, and Sean Filardi, Lynn Pauline, Marilyn Schmidt, Nikki Henze, Scott Slocum, who's the Director and Sales Director of the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Linda Vazneski. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mary. Great to hear all about the things that are going on in the city and the challenges ahead, so thank you. And thank you for your service as the board of the Chamber and the wonderful job that you do on a regular basis. And now it's my great pleasure to introduce the mayor of Walnut Creek, Justin Wedel. Mayor Justin Wedel was first elected to the Walnut Creek City Council in November of 2012 and was re-elected in November 2016. He was selected as mayor in 2018. Prior to joining the City Council, Justin was an active volunteer in the community, focusing his efforts with the Bay Area Crisis Nursery, Walnut Creek on Ice, Diablo View Rotary, and Winter Nights, among others. He also serves on the board of directors for the Leadership Contra Costa Alumni Association, a past vice president. His service on the Walnut Creek City Council is also on a voluntary basis, as he has chosen to serve without pay. On the City Council, Justin has been a vocal advocate to drive fundamental change and improve transparency. He has been a leading voice on the topics of public safety, long-term fiscal health, government transparency, protecting our children, and encouraging younger generations of Walnut Creek citizens to get involved in government. He has served on many of the council's subcommittees, including public safety, public education, community choice aggregation, housing and community development, and the West Downtown Specific Plan. Outside of volunteering, Justin has established a successful career as an information technology professional. I don't know where he has the time to do all this. My gosh. Justin started his career at the City of Walnut Creek as a computer technician in 1977, and he currently serves as a technology executive in the technology travel industry in San Francisco. Prior to his current role, he has served with multiple technology startups, both prior to and post-IPO. Justin was born and raised in the Bay Area, first in the North Bay, and then attended school in Danville and Alamo. He earned his BA in Business Administration from California State University East Bay. He and his wife, Melissa, moved to Walnut Creek in 1998 and are now raising 2 children. It is my great pleasure to introduce Mayor Justin Wedel.
Good afternoon, Walnut Creek. Thank you to Chairwoman Brooks, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to present the state of the city today. I am so honored to be able to represent the great people of the city of Walnut Creek and the City Council as mayor for this year. Thank you to the Walnut Creek Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau, the Board of Directors, Jay Hoyer, and the Chamber staff, and thank you to the men and women serving us today, allowing us to break bread and hear about the important issues that affect our community. I also want to recognize my fellow council members. They are 4 dedicated individuals that spend countless hours both serving our community and representing us on regional and state boards. I can guarantee you they do not do it for the paycheck. It is really a labor of love. From a staff perspective, I know he was already introduced, but I would like to introduce him for the first time at the State of the City. We have Dan Buckshire, who joins us from the County of San Luis Obispo, where he was the County Administrative Officer. I am so pleased to have his leadership here at the city. We also have a lot of his staff here today. We have Fran Robustelli, the Assistant City Manager, Tom Chaplin, the Chief of Police, Kevin Safine, the ARCS Director, Heather Ballinger, the Public Works Director, Sandy Myers, the Community and Economic Development Director, Amy Cunningham, the Administrative Services Director, Betsy Burkhart, Communications and Outreach Manager, Susie Martinez, the City Clerk, and Steve Mattis, the City Attorney. And I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it, without the hard work and dedication of all of our staff, Walnut Creek would be nowhere near as successful as we are today. And I know that there's other staff members here. If you could just please rise so we can recognize you. Now, I'm pleased to announce that our local economy continues to be strong. Our economic strength can be seen in our city's operational budget. The resurgence in our local economy has driven our sales and property tax revenue and our department revenues to an all-time high. Yet, you don't only have to take my word for it. You only have to go out into the community to see our success. Not only is Broadway Plaza pushing towards its conclusion of its $250 million reinvestment into their properties, we have seen bigly wins in many of our major business sectors. The T-Bid has added 2 additional hotels in unincorporated Walnut Creek, and the Tourism Board continues to grow our hospitality vitality. Additionally, Walnut Creek will be welcoming 2 additional hotels in the near future. A 160-room Marriott Residence Inn is in construction on Pringle, and we expect the Hilton Garden Inn on Lawrence Way. Apple has made a sizable investment in one of their New York-style all-glass facilities in Broadway Plaza. Amazon chose us to be one of their first brick-and-mortar stores. Walnut Creek's food scene continues to grow with the additions of places like Gott's. And something near and dear to my heart, Walnut Creek is seeing the advancement of technology and technology-based startups right here in Walnut Creek. In the past year, I'm sure you've seen them, we've seen autonomous delivery robots roaming our sidewalks. And we're honored to be one of 8 cities selected to participate in the 2018 Startup in Residence program. As part of this program, staff developed a list of several civic challenges. and these startups will be engaged to work on their solutions. For example, they have been tasked with developing an online tool to apply for residential parking permits. Yet these are just a few examples of the exciting projects that are going on here in Walnut Creek. It is clear to me that Walnut Creek continues to be the place to be. While attending the United States Conference of Mayors just last week, I was amazed by the number of mayors from coast to coast that not only knew of Walnut Creek, but also, without my prompting, referenced our economic success. Yet, we must acknowledge that there are challenges, risks, and areas of opportunity before us. While there's little doubt in my mind that Walnut Creek is in far better shape than a majority, if not all, municipalities in California, a combination of fiscal policies, past economic turmoil, and the changes in CalPERS retirement costs have negatively weighed on our long-term fiscal forecast. With property tax and sales tax growth expected to slow, even the improving economy and the benefits of the recently passed tax cuts, we're expecting to see shortfalls in our FY19 budget. Unless curtailed, spending will increase to well over historical inflationary levels. In fact, spending is estimated to grow by 38% by 2027. Due to this, we're expecting to see our first shortfall in FY19, expanding to over $9 million a year starting in 2027. However, I am confident that we, as a community, can put our differing perspectives on this issue to the side and work together to solve this problem. Much like our founding fathers did and mothers did on October 21st, 1914, when they came together to not only found our city, but make the significant investment into a community-wide problem by paving Main Street. Just like they did, we should not continue to kick the can down the road and hope for a positive resolution. Like these visionaries, we must finally make the necessary and tough decisions for a brighter future. As the Council will shortly start our budgetary process for 2018-2020, facing shortfalls, I will remind all of you that we've been here before. Throughout our history, we have seen tough budgetary challenges. Independent of our differences, we must and we can realize that they are not insurmountable. Our differences are a reflection of the diverse community that we now enjoy. It is only through the understanding of our perspectives, our beliefs, our individuality, will we come to a compromise that is necessary to solve our problems of tomorrow, something that I know all of us can do. Each 2 years, the Council comes together to develop a work plan, the major projects in which the Council hopes to accomplish. I was pleased to support the 2016-2018 work plan that covers a wide range of topics, including economic development, infrastructure, homelessness, and the availability and affordability of housing. These programs have huge impacts on the community both today and in the future. Economic development and attracting competitive businesses has always been a goal of our long-term planning. In 1951, Broadway Shopping Center officially opened its doors, successfully completing the vision of Walnut Creek leaders at that time, and providing the foundation for the retail base that we enjoy. Today, the Walnut Creek City Council has even a greater possibility for future prosperity. To help spur this activity, the City Council continues to work on with the community to entice future development. With the help of MTC grants, we are in the midst of setting the direction and the vision for our west and north downtown, two specific plans which we hope to conclude in spring and fall. When the private sector funding becomes available, these plans will provide a path to redevelopment of these areas and greater opportunities for housing and, of course, more importantly, commercial and office possibilities. In my opinion, these two plans have the greatest possibility of anything else that the Council is currently working on to transform our city for decades to come. We have altered zoning regulations in the Shadelands, worked with the property owners to create a PBID, and the previously approved Orchard project is now live. In one of the numerous examples of success, the Shadelands Sports Mall is in the works, which will be home to a wide range of local athletic programs, including soccer, basketball, swimming, gymnastics, martial arts, yoga, and much, much more. These changes have had a drastic improvement on the Shadelands, including driving down vacancy rates to 17%. No matter what our success has been, we should not rest on our laurels. With the ever-expanding digital transformation, automation, autonomous vehicles, and the push to an experience-based economy, we must evolve our vision for Walnut Creek. A vision that does not forget our past, yet a vision that recognizes and embraces the innovative solutions that will be required for a successful tomorrow. Traditional bread and butter economic drivers, car and retail sales that have historically poured money into the city's coffers will slow as technology evolves. As such, the city is working to do our part to assist with setting the table for your future success. We have dedicated resources to updating our economic development strategic plan and reorganize our staff to support this effort. This is where each of you can assist. Reach out to your city council members and demand that we evolve our vision of success, one that is based off the new internet economy, one that is based on high-paying jobs and that does not rely so heavily on the ebbs and flow of retail sales. Now, it may surprise you in the United States, we have more than $5 trillion, yes, trillion dollars in infrastructure debt, and Walnut Creek is certainly part of this. Across Walnut Creek, from buildings to roads to parking, we have tens of millions of dollars invested in infrastructure, some of which are in need of upgrade or repair. From the time of our founding and as the size of our population grew, so did our investment in facilities. From the initial investment in paving Main Street in 1921 to the opening of our new library in 2010, the inventory of our publicly financed properties has grown. Each of these facilities has undoubtedly added to the quality of life of our citizens. Yet the time has come for us to assess our infrastructure inventory and develop a plan for the future. As such, the council has identified 4 facilities that need our attention. These include Heather Farm Community Center, Civic Park Community Center, Shadelands Art Center, and the Clark Swim Center. Our challenge is to review these facilities and come up with a conclusion on the long-term services in which we'll provide or which buildings, if any, will be upgraded. Over the next few months, we'll work through the process and publish our findings. I encourage each of you to participate and provide your feedback, attend the meetings. The outcome of this process will determine the services that we provide and the budgeting for years to come. Now, I'm glad that Chairwoman Brooks brought this up. There should be little doubt that affordable and obtainable housing is connected to homelessness. Month by month, individuals in our community are spending more and more of their income on housing costs, and sadly, some are even losing it altogether. Walnut Creek is not immune to homelessness, as I'm sure most of you are aware. We have historically had a very small homeless population, but it's been increasing. And while there's many reasons why the increase has occurred, a realignment, housing costs, as 2 examples, I am proud that the council continues to drive towards realistic responses to curbing homelessness in our city. We recognize that this is a regional issue in the Bay Area, as cities are growing our cities are facing growing populations and, of course, the increased cost of living. Those following this issue at the council level, I'm sure has heard the story before, but I've shared my experience with homelessness in my family. While he has recently found permanent housing, my uncle has been homeless a majority of my life. Like far too many of these individuals, he's been engulfed by the drug epidemic in America. Rather than turning to me or my family, many times my uncle has turned to community programs and services to provide even the most basic of needs, like food, shelter, or showers. Programs like the Winter Night Shelter in Walnut Creek, that Walnut Creek has been proud to partner with the Trinity Center over the past few years. The staff and volunteers at the Trinity Center are true angels to those in need. This program provides dozens of individuals the ability to participate in a program that not only provides shelter, of course, but goes beyond that to provide training programs, helps with drug and alcohol issues, and works to get permanent housing and jobs. And I know Donna Colombo is here, and I would appreciate if Donna could stand up and we can show her appreciation for all the hard work that she does. Now, every year I volunteer at the winter nights. It's part of the Contra Costa Interfaith Coalition at my church, St. John Vianney. And the number one takeaway that I've had of this experience is that not all homelessness situations are the same. Yes, some people are victims of their own doing, whether it's drugs or alcohol or whatever else. Yet many of them are no different than you and me. They're families that are trying to make a better life for themselves, their children, many of which are working full-time jobs and just are not able to get ahead. I believe, much like what Pearl Buck said, the test of any civilization is a way that it cares for its most helpless members, and we must continue to do more to give a helping hand to those people in need. We, the nonprofits, government agencies, and of course you, the business community, must find better ways to work together to assist these people. Educate, engage, and volunteer. Every little step helps. Now, in 1998, my wife and I were fortunate enough to move to Walnut Creek. We moved into a 680 square foot studio. I don't know how both of us survived that experience. And we were paying a little over $1,000 in today's dollars. And while I had a good job, I was actually working for the city of Walnut Creek at the time. I didn't know how we would even be able to afford that rent. That same apartment goes for over $2,000 today, which is clearly more than inflation. This is the reality that every renter in Walnut Creek is facing, independent of their income. In new developments, the highest rents for two-bedroom apartments go for over $5,500 a month. Many are spending upwards of 40%, sometimes more, of their income on rent. This is clearly not sustainable in the long term. Since 2011, we've seen rents in Walnut Creek rise 55%. Home sales costs raised 27.5%, while in Contra Costa, wages have only risen 3.5%. While the affordability gap has created a housing crisis, just not in Walnut Creek, but regionally, we continue to offer a wide range of programs from first-time home buyer assistance to using developer fees to fund affordable housing projects. And these programs have paid off. Construction is underway on 58 affordable housing units at Parkside and Riviera Avenue. The Riviera family apartments, say that 10 times fast, are expected to be completed this summer. And we're working with local nonprofits like the Trinity Center, which will bring 45 affordable housing units to their property where they are currently located. Yet, through all of our efforts, they're only making a very small dent into the issues facing our community. Even the numerous developments that we've seen over the past few years, supply is growing much slower than demand. The price of development, fee hikes, entitlement durations, and the slowdown in lending continues to plague the ability for developers to move quick enough and at a price that pencils out. All communities, including Walnut Creek, must continue to make an effort and make progress. If we do not find ways of addressing this issue at the local level, the state has already pushed multiple bills that will make the situation much worse. Failure to act now will only contribute to have an adverse impact on our community and our wallets, but lead to a top-down approach from our overreaching state government, something that I believe all of us do not want. Now, before I conclude today, I also want to touch on something that continues to be very important to me. As one of the youngest mayors in our history, and as the father of 2 young children with a full-time job, I fully understand that I can have a broader impact on our community. As I've done the last 5 years, I hope to set an example that the younger generations of our community can give back without putting what we hold dearest in our hearts to the side and serve as mayor. It is clear to me that we must pass the torch to the next generations of leadership in our community. We should be inspiring, not restraining those individuals with good intentions and great ideas and a willingness to get ahead or to get involved, independent of their family size or job status. The city of Walnut Creek, along with the business community, should be motivating those individuals to lean in and play their part in setting our future direction. Walnut Creek has developed a few programs to engage the next generation. Our annual Community Service Day offers dozens of opportunities for younger individuals to participate and to gain civic pride while giving a hand back. The police department has established a cadet program as a way for high school and college students to get insights into law enforcement. Under the leadership of former Mayor Carlston, the city has established a youth commission that allows high school students to build a pipeline, or allows us to build a pipeline for the next generation of leadership here in Walnut Creek. A book that I like to reference is called Running from Office, and it details how younger generations are far less willing to become community leaders. In fact, the book states through their research that 89% of our youths say they'll never run for office. This clearly needs to change. We can and we should make this unfortunate and concerning situation a focus here in Walnut Creek. Change takes time, and it will take time to change younger generations' perception of leadership service. Yet it is only through programs like these and realizing that diversity in our beliefs is a strength and should be promoted, not weeded out. If you do not have a leadership development program at your business, start one today. Or invest in employees by sponsoring them at the Leadership Contra Costa program or the Walnut Creek Citizens Institute, both of which I went through prior to joining council. Failure to invest in the future generations will have drastic effects on our community and will force a race to the bottom. Like every year, we have many challenges in front of us. Yet, even in the face of these issues, our commitment to improving the city has not and will never change. Now, to borrow from Ronald Reagan, I believe we must put forth at the local level a platform with a banner of bold, unmistakable colors with no pastel shades, a platform that shows our dedication to improving our local economy and finances, investing in our infrastructure, helping our homeless, encouraging housing options at all levels, and of course, preparing the next generation for leadership. Now, I do not ask you to do this on your own. I ask you to walk alongside me to ensure that Walnut Creek remains the place that we all love, a shiny city on the hill that will allow future generations to look back upon us with appreciation. It is my absolute privilege to be here today and to lead our city for this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Wedel. We do have time for a few questions, so I may not get to every question, but we'll try to get to a few of them. Let's see, can you directly answer the need to repeal Measure A?
Tough ones first, huh? Look, I mean, I've made my opinions known on this, and I mean, I have my perspective, the council has their perspective. I think, and I would encourage the business community and those individuals out there to address this issue to the council. We haven't addressed this in many years. We haven't looked at this in many years. In fact, it's really been the third rail of Walnut Creek politics for many years. So I'm encouraged to see this issue come forward, and I hope that the business community, along with the individuals out there in the neighborhoods, come forth and address this issue head on. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have this housing crisis and other issues in our city.
Right. Okay, Mayor, another question. Will you continue to support the arts in Walnut Creek, since we know they contribute to our economic vitality?
Yes.
Okay, I need one that'll be a little more elaborate. How's this one now? Walnut Creek has added many new apartments over the last few years. Do you see that continue to grow, or do you think we've grown enough?
Well, independent of whatever my opinion is, I think it's clear that the developer community is very interested in building here in Walnut Creek. We've seen a drastic increase since the Great Recession of individuals that are wanting to develop in our area. But we've also seen massive community support that has come out and supported many of these developments, not universally, but we have not seen the huge backlash, at least as of yet, of development in our community. So until that happens, I can only see that it continuing to occur here in the city. Of course, there's other adverse things that are going on, such as the ability to get a loan to build things, and of course the cost of development that is having the balancing counteract of developers' willingness to develop in our city. Okay.
Oh, well, here's a good one. What are the current plans for cannabis regulation for the city?
The council has actually taken a very deliberate and thoughtful approach towards cannabis in our community. We are going to be meeting here in the next month. Yes, month. I've been hearing that for months, but we're going to be meeting within the next month to review the staff's research that we've asked around what other municipalities are doing, what the state regulations are, and then of course how the regulations would impact Walnut Creek. The city council will then make a determination based off the majority of what path that we want to go down. I don't know if there's a consensus around, from a council perspective, about what path we wish to take. Just one last thing I'll say on this, and for those of you that have been following the city council, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but every precinct in Walnut Creek passed this. Before the election, the Walnut Creek City Council came out against the proposition, and it was very clear to me that we were wrong on this issue. Every precinct in Walnut Creek passed it. 61 or 63% of Walnut Creek voted for this. So depending on what your perspective is, I would encourage you to either come out and speak for it, or if you're against it, to come out and make sure that your opinions are known.
Okay, we have one question left. This is kind of a fun one. Mr. Mayor, with all the new housing coming in and our growing millennial population, do you think Walnut Creek needs more nightlife and entertainment venues downtown?
I mean, sure, yes. I just so happen to have two very young children, 8 and 6, so my nightlife consists of going to the local burger shop and then coming home to pass out. Not from drinking. I should have probably thought about that before I said it. Oh, yeah, maybe sometimes drinking. But sure, as we see the younger individuals that are coming into our community, and I'm sure you heard my speech, I'm very encouraged by that, and I hope those individuals choose to take a leadership position in our community. I think that we need to evolve our vision of Walnut Creek and actively look at what the new generation of Walnut Creek wants, and encourage that to occur in our city.
Thank you so much, Mayor Wedel, for your service and continued support.